Hello everyone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw on April 6, 2015, and I'll have to say this was a very weak Raw. There were some good points in there, and some relatively decent promos, and a few things I like how they're playing off of everything. But and I'll go off on those right from the get-go. I like how they're playing the New Day right now. You could feel the heel turn coming in them, and I think that's how people always viewed them as coming in. They were going to be a new heel faction of some kind, but I like how they're playing off of how the fans are chanting New Day sucks, everything like that. I actually like that they're playing off of that and trying to keep themselves as trying to be face, but you can feel them kind of heel turning in there. You saw that in the match where Kofi Kingston cheated a little bit in there. Obviously they didn't let them go over because they were trying to put over the Lucha Dragons at this point in time, because they've just come up and they, obviously they want to push the new team coming up at this point in time. So, but you can sense a little bit of a heel turn in them. I like the direction that's actually going in at this point. It was one of the few actual highlights and things I felt went well on Raw because match quality wise was good. Storyline was kind of crap for the most part on Raw, but like I said, there was a few areas that I actually did like on the show. That was one of them. The Miz match was another one. I wish they would have done some more build up throughout the whole night for that match, instead of just kind of saying, oh hey, this match is going to happen, and it happens extremely late on in the show. But overall, fun match to watch, and I've enjoyed that storyline. They did keep it open for continuing a storyline, but I think they need to get to a point that they can't call Sandow Mizdow anymore, and I don't know when they can get there, but they need to do it relatively soon so they can finally start distinguishing him away from this whole personal assistant stunt double thing that he had been doing for the longest period of time that got him over, and hopefully what he does next continues to keep him over at that point in time. But they need to, if they want to continue on with the storyline, I feel like they need to distinguish Sandow as something more than just Mizdow at this point. So we'll see where they go with it. That's just a personal opinion where I think they need to go with the show, or with him on that aspect. So that was those were two areas that I felt were relatively good on the show. Other than that, I did not really think the storyline building was all that good throughout the rest of the night. I mean, with the Divas side, again, it kind of showed, and it's not that bad of it's not a crazy bad knock on her, but Naomi, it kind of showed again why they've never really gone with her in the past as, with a serious feud in any way, because you haven't seen much from her in the terms of talking, because usually they don't let the Divas talk all that much to begin with. They're kind of going in a new direction with everything, but she seems like she's very athletic in the ring, but her moves come off very sloppy at this point in time, and you saw that in the match tonight. It just well, actually, that whole Divas tag match in general did not flow all that well, and you even saw a little bit of a hiccup in there with Xavier Woods as well during their match with the Lucha Dragons. So it just that match did not feel like it flowed all that well. And then they did the backstage segment trying to get getting the Divas Battle Royal. That one didn't come off all that good in there as well. But they're kind of trying to build some kind of a small story in there, but nothing really much with that section. I just didn't like where they went with that in any way, shape, or form. I guess I do have to go into another aspect that I did like about the show. I like the match with Stardust and John Cena. The whole John Cena Open challenge for the United States title. It brings meaning back to the belt. It brings, you have the established superstar with the United States title going up with the younger talent. And that brings meaning, and the fact that he's going out there doing an open challenge for everything, it kind of brings a story and a meaning back to the title, that it's like, hey, he's willing to go out there and face anyone, anytime, anywhere, and put the title on the line, and it doesn't matter who comes out. So that was one area that I did, one aspect of the show that I did like. The Sheamus calling people out moment, and then eventually getting Mark Henry. They've kind of done that one a lot. And they've done it not just with Mark Henry in the past, but they've done it with Kane, Big Show, people like that all the time. Apparently out of nowhere, Mark Henry's face again, even though like before he got injured the most recent time, he was heel when leaving. So he's just a face now for no apparent reason. So that one didn't really come off of all that well, though. I do like the aspect that they kept Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan off the show from what Sheamus did to them over the past week, and then now they're going to have a tag match with Bad News Barrett and Sheamus and Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown. That kind of came off a little bit well. I like the aspect that they kept them off of the show for that. The one aspect behind the whole John Cena thing with the United States title, I know they made the announcement that Cena's going up against Rusev, or whoever the United States champion is going up against Rusev at Extreme Rules. I would have liked to have seen some interaction this week between Cena and Rusev after the match with Stardust, or just something a little bit more to continue on with this storyline. Maybe even make a stipulation for the match or something like that. Maybe since they're doing the whole open challenge thing, they're going to wait till the week before to actually make a stipulation. I'm not sure where they're going to go with this storyline, but I would have liked to have seen some interaction between the two of them going into leading up into into the Extreme Rules pay-per-view match. So hopefully that's what we'll be getting over the next couple weeks before the actual pay-per-view goes on. So we'll see where that one goes. Now this brings me to what I felt was probably the weakest portion of the show, and unfortunately it covered most of the show itself. And that was the whole setting up the triple threat match with Orton and Ryback and Roman Reigns to see who's going to face Seth Rollins for the title at Extreme Rules. And the reason why I say it was kind of weak, it's just an aspect that, okay, you set that main event up. You have this big triple threat for the number one contendership, and now all three of these guys are going to be in a match. And one-on-one matches before this match happens. It's like, that really doesn't, like, they're trying to play Kane's being evil heel to the faces, but yet, they have this one match, and they have this one match at the end of the show. It's like, I'm just gonna throw all three of you into one-on-one matches. Like, there's no heel getting advantage. You don't have any of this. What kind of story are they trying to tell here? And then, of course, having all of them come out during the match and interfering in the match and everything is like, the only way that I could have seen that storyline coming off and making sense in any way between all of them is if they were able to take out all three of those guys and there would be no technical winner. And they didn't even do that. They had Randy Orton win in that case. They had Seth Rollins go over at the end after that match. But it was like the storyline made for that triple threat match, just, it didn't make any clear sense where they were going with it. And obviously they wanted to get Randy Orton to be the number one contender, so they got there. But you set up this triple threat match, then you have no heels in there, so all of a sudden that one punishment type thing that the heel guy running the show for that night would do by putting them in matches before they would be in this #1 contendership match really makes no sense. And then they all interfere in the match, which, you know, they just don't like any of those guys. They don't like any of those guys to begin with. So why are they actually doing, you know, giving just three faces the actual #1 contendership? It would have been. I feel like they should have made it a fatal four-way and put a heel character in there to potentially, you know, make it feel like they were trying to give an advantage to somebody. But it just, that whole aspect did not come off all that well. And the other aspect that I didn't really like about the show, though, I mean, the match itself was actually really good. I felt that it was way too soon for them to put Adrian Neville in there with Seth Rollins. They've just brought Adrian Neville up. Now, granted, this gave him a great chance to show off again with one of the top guys, but you just brought the guy up, and you're immediately throwing him in there with the champion, and it just, it really did not. Again, it just didn't feel like it made sense to have him going up against Seth Rollins. It wasn't like Seth Rollins went out there and issued an open challenge and he came out there for that. That would have made more sense, but no, it was kind of, oh, Kane and Seth Rollins had a backstage argument and he's putting him in a match where he doesn't know his opponent, and it's Adrian Neville. I mean, Adrian Neville's a great talent and everything, but I feel like they needed to build him up more on Raw before putting him in there with one of the bigger guys, or one of the more top guys. But, I mean, they did what they did. It was a fun match, don't get me wrong. No real story behind it, but it was what it was there. So hopefully that doesn't hurt Adrian Neville down the road in any way. Where he just, he got a good match. At least he was getting decent crowd reaction throughout the entire night, and throughout the entire match as well, so that will probably help him out in that case. So hopefully they'll go back to trying to build Adrian Neville up before they introduce him into a storyline or something in that case. You definitely get the superhero-esque vibe with now with how his entrance music starts and everything like that. That's where I felt like they were trying to go with, and it doesn't seem like it's out of place in any way. I think it does actually work there. But we'll see. I'll have to see how that character goes over the next few weeks, and I'm hoping it ends out coming out off really well, because I've liked Adrian Neville down on NXT. I want to see, I want them to give him something good on the main roster to have him succeed up there as well. So overall, like I said, I felt this week's Raw was very weak, and that was mainly because of the main storyline throughout the entire show, which, like I said before, encompassed pretty much the entire show, and it just didn't come off all that good. But I mean, there were some up points on there, which I covered throughout the entire review. Yeah, that's my review this week for Monday Night Raw, and I thank you guys for watching.